Hi, my name is Tammy Brookhuizen, and I'm going to be speaking with you today regarding the WHO and how and why I believe they are an ineffective international organization. For those of you who don't know, the WHO is the World Health Organization. It was established in 1948 and is the United Nations agency dedicated to global health and safety. It is headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland, and is governed by 194 member states grouped into 6 regions. In an extraordinary crisis, the WHO can declare a public health emergency of international concern, or the acronym PHEIC, which is pronounced as FAKE. The WHO had previously declared 6 fakes since its inception, including the 2009 swine flu, the reaction to the reversal of progress in eradicating polio in 2014, the 2014 Ebola outbreak, the 2016 Zika virus outbreak, when the Ebola epidemic reached the city of Goma in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and of course the 2020 coronavirus. The WHO receives funding through membership dues paid by member states and voluntary contributions from member states and other partners. In recent years, the top voluntary contributors have been the United States, the United Kingdom, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. This leads me into the ways that I believe the WHO has been ineffective. As I previously mentioned, the WHO relies on voluntary donations for funding, which they have become increasingly reliant upon. This creates pressure on the WHO to align its goals with their more generous donors instead of remaining neutral. Another criticism is the WHO's relationship with Taiwan. China condemns any recognition of Taiwan as an independent nation. Therefore, Taiwan is unable to efficiently share any information about its own outbreaks directly with the WHO, because China demands that Taiwan be denied formal representation within the United Nations system. This puts Taiwan's nearly 24 million people at risk. The biggest and perhaps worst way the WHO has been ineffective is their handling of the Ebola outbreak and the coronavirus. In 2014, the WHO was faulted for slow and poor coordinated responses to the Ebola outbreak. It waited 5 months before declaring a public health emergency, despite repeated pleas from groups like Doctors Without Borders. More recently, with the coronavirus, concerns were raised about the WHO's deference to Beijing and China's influence over the organization. Specifically, the WHO accepted misinformation from the Chinese government and waited too long to declare an emergency. Although the WHO declared the virus a global health emergency in January, they didn't declare it as a pandemic until March, after it had reached 114 countries. Travel restrictions should have been imposed more quickly, which would have significantly slowed the rapid spread of the disease. To date, 3.3 million people have died worldwide from COVID, and 159 million have been infected. After the mishandling of the coronavirus, a panel set up by the World Health Organization found that there were many failures, gaps, and delays in preparedness and response, which allowed the virus to grow into a pandemic. Several reforms and an overhaul of the WHO were suggested by the panel to prevent another pandemic. Those include limited terms for WHO leaders. A new Global Threats Council should be created with the power to hold countries accountable. A disease surveillance system should be put in place to publish information without approval of the countries concerned. And vaccines should be classified as public goods, and there should be a pandemic financing facility. All told, the COVID-19 pandemic will have cost the world approximately $22 trillion by the year 2025. Had the above suggested reforms been in place, the pandemic could have been avoided, or at the very least, significantly minimized. The WHO has had many opportunities following previous outbreaks, especially the Ebola outbreak, to identify their weaknesses and correct them, but failed to do so. allowing pandemics such as the coronavirus to continue to occur.